I wanted to get a sense of how much of an impact the Bloor Street bike lanes had on traffic in Bloor West Village. So one morning I went for a walk, a little after 8 o'clock, just a half-hour walk, and I thought I'd record every cyclist that goes by, as well as the condition of the traffic. If you live west of Hyde Park, or in Etobicoke, and you're heading downtown or somewhere in central Toronto to go to work, then you're probably going to be driving past Hyde Park a little after 8 o'clock in order to get to work on time, right? But as you can see, traffic is moving really smoothly. There's no bunch-ups at the intersections. The cyclists are able to get through just fine. There's not a lot of parking on the street. Traffic's moving. Here we can get a nice long look at Bloor Street all the way up to the top of the hill. Now there's a red light there, but it's not causing a big backup of traffic that's going to take a long time to clear. Less than a minute after that last clip, all of those vehicles are through the intersection. There's no traffic jam. There's no huge gridlock issue on Bloor Street. And the trade-off is that cyclist who is towing a trailer for a child is able to do so without worry of fast-moving vehicles passing right by them. This is what a complete street looks like. We have drivers and cars moving smoothly up and down the road. We have pedestrians able to cross safely and use the sidewalks. And we have cyclists in their own lane, protected from drivers parking in the bike lane. It's working. Remember, this is February 8th. Now, we've had a very mild winter in Toronto this year. February has been quite nice, but we've already seen a lot of cyclists considering it's one of the coldest months of the year. I started out just wanting to record the cyclists using the bike lanes because opponents to these bike lanes keep saying, "Where are the cyclists?" Well, they're here. There's a lot of them. What I realized as I was going along and recording people, though, is just how much heavy vehicle traffic there is on the road. And I don't mean heavy in volume, but I mean big trucks, delivery trucks, concrete trucks. Here's a big cube van going past two cyclists who, without these bike lanes, would be competing for the same space with that vehicle, creating a hazard. Now, the only spot that was actually experiencing some traffic backup was here at Bloor and Runnymede, where construction crews had a whole lane of parking and traffic closed down. So there was a slowdown here, and cyclists were forced to move in mixed traffic with vehicles. But that was it. Once that construction is done, this situation is not going to continue. We're in the heart of Bloor West Village here, and aside from the slowdown due to that construction at Runnymede, traffic is moving quite smoothly. Now here's another example of the safety benefits. This school bus passing the cyclist, if the bike lanes were not there, they would have to share the same lane, and the school bus driver would need to change lanes in order to obey the 1 meter passing rule. Here at Bloor and Jane Street, we're approaching the other traffic backup that occurs here. In this case, it's the lead up to the South Kingsway. So you'll see vehicles starting to queue up here to turn left to head down towards the Gardner and the lakeshore. And the oncoming traffic is all the eastbound traffic coming in from Etobicoke. But as you can see, there's not really that much traffic coming through after the South Kingsway. This is as far west as I wanted to go in this part of the video, but now we're heading back after my appointment at 9:32 a.m. Here we are at the South Kingsway, and you can see that the eastbound traffic coming from Etobicoke is virtually non-existent. There is still some backup in the left turning lanes to head south, but that's not new. This was always an issue at this location. The bike lanes haven't changed anything. We're heading back east through the Bloor West Village at 9:40 a.m. now. And at this point, some of the businesses are open, but you can see traffic is basically non-existent. The traffic jams that opponents to these bike lanes predicted just have not materialized. Instead of traffic chaos, what I see is smooth flowing traffic with reasonable spacing and drivers moving at a reasonable speed. The on-street parking is well used but not overused, and there is room for cyclists to get around safely. What you see here is a cyclist trying to overtake another cyclist in the bike lane. The lane's not wide enough for him to go around, so he goes onto the sidewalk for a short time in order to pass him. That's a really bad move, but unfortunately, the concrete curbs and the line of parked cars make it impossible for him to pass on the roadside. It's exactly the same kind of behavior that you see from drivers who want to get around a slower vehicle or someone who is stopped and waiting to turn. Here we are looking back at this long stretch of Bloor Street once again, now an hour and a half later at around 10 o'clock. You can see that traffic is a little bit heavier, but it's still moving smoothly. I want to take a minute here and just sit and watch. A lot of the times, drivers' experience of traffic and of the road and the infrastructure comes just from being in their car. So what you can see from this video is a silver Jeep followed by another vehicle and a box truck, and then a final vehicle in this line of traffic. Vehicles tend to clump together, and when you're in the middle of that clump, it feels like you are in heavy traffic, when in reality, you're just one small cluster on your own with empty road in front and behind. When you're following active transportation advocacy, you sometimes hear about windshield bias. That's what I'm talking about here. So I'd encourage you to get out of your car, go for a walk, find a bench or a nice place to lean, and watch the traffic. See how everybody moves at the same time. It's not the hellscape that you've been led to believe it is. At the beginning of this video, at 8:10 a.m., this sign said there were 46 cyclists. In roughly 90 minutes, 77 more cyclists went by this counter. By the end of the day, a total of 509 cyclists had gone by this counter on February 8th. That's an average of about 33 cyclists per hour. Each one of them deserves and needs a safe place to bike so that they can get home alive. An imaginary traffic jam is no reason to deny them that.